the signing of autographs. The players will sign those that are not below the squad here. Also give the cell phone to the side. The ball belongs to the players as they close on the wall. So as they come around the carpet, they'll be appreciated. Okay, boys and girls. Boys, if you'll get 10 pins on the deck, as soon as we get your names up in your competition. Bowling fans, how about a great send-out for round 2 qualifying in this year's PWBA Lubbock Sports Open. Thank you and good luck.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to live coverage of the 2015 PWBA Lubbock Sports Open here at South Plains Lanes in Lubbock, Texas, the third official event of the 2015 PWBA Tour season. Thing kicked off in May at the USBC Queens in Green Bay and picked up again last week in Sacramento at the PWBA Storm Sacramento Open, held at Steve Cook's Fireside Lanes in Citrus Heights, California. So the tour making its way from the West Coast to the East Coast, where the final regular event of the season will be the U.S. Women's Open, Labor Day weekend, August 31st to September 6th, followed by the PWBA Tour Championship, presented by GoBowling.com to conclude this first year of the return of the PWBA Tour. So thanks for joining us today. Our live wire-to-wire coverage here from South Plains Lanes. This is Matt Canizaro. We had round 1 earlier today. 6 games already in the books. This is our second and final qualifying round. 6 more games, and then we'll cut the field from the 74 down to the top 16 for match play tomorrow. There'll be 16 games of round-robin match play, followed by the stepladder finals. Again, 74 players in the field. 16 will make match play. 32 will take home a prize check this week. So nearly half the field will go home with at least $1,200, which is a pretty good return of a $300 investment for PWBA members. And scores through the first round are posted on PWBA.com. You can check that out. Once again, a very talented field here of 74. And as with last week's event and the next 2 coming up, the field opened up a little bit. Originally, 64 was the number of expected players. And the success and the excitement for the PWBA Tour returning for the first time since 2003 has got the fields full, and lots of players knocking on the door trying to get in, and staff doing everything to accommodate as many players as possible. The complete PWBA schedule for 2015 can be found at PWBA.com. There will be live streaming coverage of each event here on Extra Frame. Lucas Wiseman will be the main man in the booth. And I am here filling in as Lucas is at Junior Gold this week with Aaron Smith. Do appreciate everybody stopping by, giving us part of your Friday afternoon. There on lane 18, throwing strikes. Katie Sutphin, young up-and-comer from Central Florida. And Tracy Ball struggling a little bit here early in this event and looking to work her way back up the standings here in the second block. Brady Silva, the left-hander, getting ready to bowl on 18. She had a great start this morning. Was plus 48 through 3 games and struggled a little bit with the transition and has a little bit of work to do here. She's still inside the top 32. Looking for her first professional prize check. And Jen Higgins rounding out the 4 on 17 and 18 here at South Plains Lanes. Saw her with back-to-back top 5 finishes at the USBC Queens in 2013 and 14. No doubt the former Team USA member will be a regular face at the top of the standings here in the PWBA. Now turning our attention towards 19 and 20, Team USA's Brianna Caldwell. Step it up on 19 there. Terrific shot. The 7 won't go. She's a multi-time Team USA member and had a successful career at Central Missouri. Christina Wendell now on lane 20 was last week's qualifying leader. Maintained that lead, went on to a runner-up finish. She fell to Alicia Current in the championship match. So this field definitely solid top to bottom. Also on this pair, Allie Ijams. We saw her last year at the PWBA All-Star. Or BPAA, I'm sorry, the All-Star in Columbus, Ohio. That event won by Shannon Pluhowski. Allie bowled very well during qualifying. That was our first real chance to get a look at her. And of course now, 2014 USBC Queens champion Maria Jose Rodriguez. First round leader, Jazreel Tan of Singapore. Averaged 230.67, plus 184 to lead the way. Missy Parkin made the show last week in Sacramento. She is second at plus 151. The young Amanda Green in third place at plus 83. Claire Guerrero in fourth at plus 67, and Daphne Tan of Singapore rounding out the top 5 at plus 64. So a lot of international representation here in our top 16. It's like 5 players from Singapore. There's Clara from Colombia. Cut right now to the top 16 is plus 19. Tania Falbo sitting in 16th place right now. You can find the standings again at pwba.com/live, or just if you want to search for information about the event in general or the PWBA, it's pwba.com. Stephanie Johnson and Michelle Secors on the outside at plus 12. And the final number for a check so far, minus 25. Cassandra Luthold, former Junior Team USA member, holding on to that 32nd spot, but in a field of 74 with 32 checks up for grabs, you're never really too far out of it, I would say. Probably 65 or 70 of the players even have a legitimate chance at taking home a share of the prize money here with a good second block. 6 games is a lot of real estate. We'll see if the players learned anything in the morning's opening block. I know the folks on the truck have been very busy during the break, It was about an hour and a half break. Mapping out balls and trying to give some of the players a few different looks here in round number 2. So very cool to have the PBA truck here and the ability to go out and find something different or talk to some of the folks out there, talk to some of the ball reps, all the companies well represented here. A lot of help, everybody working together to see women's bowling succeed. And this partnership between USBC and BPAA, a 3-year commitment, guaranteed prize fund, so regardless of the entries, 32 players at least will take home checks. 32nd place, $1,200 guaranteed. Great shot by Brandy Silva, hoping to get a piece of the prize fund. So she's got 3 out of 4 here. She enters this round in 27th place at -15, so definitely inside that number. Trying to climb her way back up, got off to a strong start, struggled. There's Katie Sutphin. 9 foul to start, but looking for 4 in a row here on lane 17. And she gets it. This lane condition, a 40-foot pattern this week, and 26.55 mils of oil. Moderately heavy. And the oil of choice this week, Kegel Ice. Laid out by the top of the line, Kegel Flex Lane Machine. This is game 1 of 6, round number 2. Sutphin with the wobbly 10-pin, denies her 5 in a row. So Jen Higgins up on lane 17, looking for a 3-bagger here. Terrific shot. Missed any of the coverage from the opening round, you can find it in the archives on Extra Frame. Lucas Wiseman will have it up on Bowl TV later in the week as well. Again, everybody working together to see the PWBA Tour succeed. It's back for the first time since 2003. There is a tour for the ladies, and they're going to cross the country here this summer. I have wire-to-wire coverage here for you. We'll be back at it bright and early tomorrow. As match play gets underway. – 8:30 a.m. local time, 9:30 Eastern. And the exciting conclusion of this week's event will be tomorrow night at 6:30 local, 7:30 Eastern. Don't forget to tell all your friends. Find us on Facebook. PWBA has its own Facebook page, so you can follow along with the action. And on Twitter at PWBA Tour. If you have any questions for me, I'll be here for the entire event. No chat room here on Extra Frame, but always glad to answer questions via Facebook. You can reach me at Matt Canizaro USBC or on Twitter at USBC Matt. Prior to practice for this second round, we saw a presentation for Alicia Curran. They presented her championship banner, and her name now hangs over lane 20. A little hard to see here on Extra Frame, but it's there, I promise. She won last week at the PWBA Storm Sacramento Open. Her name now forever will hang at the end of the lanes as a PWBA champion. So congratulations to Alicia. She took home $12,000 for the victory. She downed Christina Wendell, who is now trying to get back to that place of a week ago. Wendell battled back today from a little bit of a slow start, and she's 13th right now at plus 23, so very nice last couple games for her today. So game one moving along nicely here. And quickly at that. After today's qualifying, we'll have a final update for you. We'll post that on PWBA.com and bowl.com, and of course across all of the social media. Great shot from iJams for the double. She was 7th after the opening round at plus 58, and as I mentioned earlier, we saw her last year at the All-Star. That was my first chance to see her compete, and very impressed. I believe she is a school teacher, and this is the perfect timing, as it is summertime. School's out. Tour going all the way until Labor Day. For those fortunate enough to get to the season-ending Tour Championship. There'll be one final week at the International Training and Research Center in Arlington, Texas, so part of the USBC BPA headquarters there. The ITRC, of course, the home to Team USA. All of these players have been there, trained there, taking advantage of that facility. Right now, many of them getting to live the dream they never thought they'd had, some revisiting a career from long ago. Here we are, 10th frame on 17 and 18, just like that. Ball and Sutphin will be the first to wrap things up here in the opener. Do appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, this is Matt Cannizzaro, and we're live on Extra Frame. PWBA Lubbock Sports Open here at South Plains Lanes. Quick shout out to my favorite Canadian, Brittany Crawford. Got a chance to meet her and her teammates last year at the World Youth Championships, and some of their parents. A very festive group there, and hopefully we'll see some of those young players out here on the PWBA Tour soon. Another great shot from iJams. Sutphin stepping up with a chance at 238. Right now, Katie in 35th place at minus 39, so not far out. This game really is going to help her and get her into that number. Certainly getting off to a good start. Good confidence builder. Wendell not liking lane 19. As you can see, 3 consecutive 8 counts. Looks like she's got the right lane down pretty good though. So Sutphin will be in the 230s, ball 178. Higgins looking to get into the 170s as well. Brady Silva can have a big finish here. Working on a double. Things getting ready to get a little bit more intense here. First round this morning, everybody kind of feeling their way around and getting comfortable, and it's getting down to crunch time here at South Plains Lane. Silva stepping up on 18, working on a double. 236 still possible. Good shot, terrible break. The 7-10 and the 10th. Fortunately, my own personal 10th frame woes appear to have rubbed off on the young left-hander. Emil Williams Jr. calls me 10th frame, as I can bowl a great game for 9 frames and get in my own way in the 10th. Nothing in Allie's way, as she throws her 4th consecutive strike there on lane 20. Terrible break there for Silva on a great shot. She finishes with 202. She'll go to minus 13. Still in that number, but could have been a huge start there. Sutphin 236. Higgins 174. We'll turn our attention now towards 19 and 20. iJams looking to fill things up here. She's got 5 in a row. Caldwell will finish with 196.
Where are we going?
IJM's max 214. This 40-foot pattern, well, it's not easy, certainly fairly challenging. Jazriel Tan making it look easy, averaging 230 in the opening block to go plus 184. Missy Parkin plus 151, and then some separation. Amanda Green third at plus 83. IJM's started this block plus 58 in 7th place. Should pick up 12 more. Wendell was 13th at plus 23. So she's going to lose at least a few sticks here. Maria Rodriguez was down in 41st place at minus 45. So get a couple pins back here in the opening game. Scoring updates happening pretty quick at PWBA.com. Damon Sirocco and the staff here, Kathy Watka, working diligently to get those scores updated as fast as possible. Director of Operations Jason Thomas doing a little bit of everything here this week, as they too are just getting comfortable with the whole PWBA Tour life. Got the truck outside, the banners, the signage. It really does feel like a professional tour. Players definitely buying into this opportunity. You can see it all over their own social media. Very proud to call themselves professional bowlers. For the first event even, there was about 80 PWBA members, and see if we can't get an update again from Jason Thomas, where the membership stands as the schedule rolls on. Wendell finishes with 191. We got a score correction happening here for Maria Rodriguez. I believe she was missing a 9-pin. So she'll get a fresh shot here. 220 still out there. Same result, 8 count. Tough spare here for Rodriguez as she'll close things out here in game 1. Finish with 197, lose a couple pins. Just like that, players will start moving. Game number 2 coming right up. Thanks for joining us here on Extra Frame. This is Matt Cannizzaro. We'll have game 2 for you in just a minute. All right, so game 2 getting started quickly, and you have a treat this time around. USBC PWBA Hall of Famer Tish Johnson, 3-time runner-up at the USBC Senior Queens. More than 24 professional titles to her credit. Stepping up on lane 17 right now, Erin McCarthy. Won a national title at Nebraska and start at Midland. She was our top seed and runner-up at the Queens in May, her first professional event. She's a Team USA member. Looks like tournament leader Jazriel Tan will be on this pair as well. On our right-hand pair, Nia Falbo. We saw these ladies earlier today. Collegiate standout at Maryland Eastern Shore. Elise Bolton, former Junior Team USA member. Also bowled at Sam Houston State and Nebraska. Brandy Branca and Ashley Rucker had a nice collegiate career. You can read more about most of these players at PWBA.com. There are some qualifications for getting a bio on the website. But membership growing every day. Rucker, the left-hander, bowled at Arkansas State. Finished 9th at the 2015 USBC Team USA trials. Member of Junior Team USA in 2013. A lot of great information on here about who's who. Falbo, mentioned she bowled collegiately at Maryland Eastern Shore. 2-time intercollegiate team champion, 2011 and 13. Also 2 NCAA titles 2011, and 2012. As soon as we get a score update, once everybody's done with game one, we'll let you know what's happening. So here's our tournament leader, Jazreel Tan from Singapore, bowled at Wichita State, a stellar collegiate career for her as well. And pretty awesome that she gets to continue with her bowling career here in the United States. Looks like she had a terrific first game as well. But we'll have the updated standings here momentarily. There's April Murphy, the fourth member of this quartet. She bowled at Pikeville as April Ellis. Now married to Billy Murphy. You'll see throughout the field here at the PWBA Lubbock Sports Open some familiar themes, and most of these players worked their way through junior bowling, of course, many in the high school ranks as well. They all went on to college bowling, found terrific success for most, whether it be at the NCAA level or intercollegiately. Very familiar theme. Junior Team USA well represented. And a great familiarity with sport bowling lane conditions, as the young generation of bowlers, that's what they're used to. If you'd like to follow your favorite player, just go to pwba.com/live and you'll see a link to the live scoring. You can follow them thanks to our friends at Brunswick and Merrick.
Oh, you got popcorn.
Pick any pair in the house right now using lanes 3 through 40 of this 40 lane center. 4 on most pairs. And 3 on a couple pairs. 74 players total. This is their second game of this block. And 8th game of the day. After 12 games, the field will be cut to the top 16. They'll come back tomorrow for 16 games of round robin match play, followed by the step ladder finals. 32 will get prize checks of at least $1,200. Not bad for one day's work here at South Plains Lanes. All right, so great start here for Falbo. Front 5. Bronca 4 out of 5. Falbo entered the second round here at plus 19. She was the number. And according to what's under her name here on the scoreboard, it says plus 67. Not sure how accurate that is, but if that's the case, great start for her, and continuing here in game 2. But we'll have those standings for you as soon as they're available. You can keep an eye on PWBA.com as well. Tish Johnson not off to a bad start. 9-spare, 9-spare, 3-bagger. Looks like everybody getting pretty comfortable here now that we're in game 8. So Falbo makes it 6. Ashley Rucker trying to get back on track here. Bronca 4 out of 5. All right, so after 7 games, Jazreel Tan still in the lead. Plus 188, so she shot 204 in the opening game. Missy Parkins still second, plus 166. Danielle McEwen, 241 to jump into the 3rd spot. Team USA member, Team USA Trials champion. Daphne Tan, also from Singapore, in 4th at plus 85. Then a tie for 5th, Idams and Clara Guerrero at plus 70. Falbo all the way up to 7th place. She started with 248. The number right now, Stephanie Johnson, plus 22. Looks like Falbo's 248 was the high game. Game number 1, liking the fresh. liking it quite a bit here. She's up on lane 19 right now, trying to make it 7 in a row. Nice trip of the 4. Got that one in a little bit and it held. Terrific start for the NCAA champion. She's a cash number right now, minus 30. Left-hander Kimmy Davidson is the number with 5 games to go. Bit of a roller coaster for some players. April Murphy. All right, here's Falbo up on lane 20, trying to give us some excitement, looking for 8 in a row. With a front 9 earlier today, Michelle Secors came up short in the 10th. See if Falbo can get us there. Gets that one right now, and doesn't make it back, leaves the bucket. So last one she got in, it held. Tripped the 4, that one let it fly, and looking at a tough spare. Erin McCarthy throwing pins all over, can't get the 10 to go. Again, she was the runner-up at the Queens this year. Great young talent, just the right timing for her. She graduated from Midland in 2012, and she actually is a nurse. So she's able to work her schedule to where she can bowl in pretty much any event she would like to. Folks, there's a strange gentleman sitting next to me right now with the headset on. You might recognize him as the bowling guy. However, he no longer is the bowling guy. He's just the man, Jason Thomas.
The man. No, I appreciate that, Matt. Now I'm just the guy.
JT, Director of Operations here at the PWBA Tour. That is a job worthy of a sport coat, so you know it's important.
That's right. Well, you know, Thoreau once said, always beware of any occupation that requires new clothes. So I was definitely worried going in. Well, what we got going on? Scores are a little lower than I thought they would be.
Well, we almost had some excitement here. Tania Falbo had the front 7. I thought I was going to have to get you out here with your camera again, but camera's already here. You were ready.
Yeah. Well, whenever I threaten to come out and film somebody, they definitely screw up, usually.
Well, It appears that she had the highest opening game at 248 and jumped all the way to 7th place now, and on potential 270 game here. So
yeah, we talked about her this morning, and I was kind of giving her lots of praise, and she didn't bowl a great game in front of the cameras this morning, but she is definitely going to be a star out here on the tour.
Well, we talked so much about.
Maybe I should just stop saying good things about her because she just left the split there.
You're bad luck.
Every time. I'm Black Cloud.
Well, I tried not to say anything about Brandy Silva when she was on camera, and because I knew that the world would be listening, and she's 7-10 in the 10th, just like I would do, and I feel like my bad habits are contagious.
No bueno.
But Jason, I don't know, looking wall to wall here at these 74 entries, and we talk so much about how professional women's bowling disappeared for 12 years, and for some of these players, that's more than half their lives. But it is super strong, and again, so many familiar faces, and they're taking advantage of what opportunities they did have with high school bowling, junior gold, the events that we did have, the Queens, the U.S. Women's Open, and just going to college, getting the education, planning on a career, bowling and excelling on the lanes while there. And there's hundreds more just like them that either didn't get into this event or they're doing other things right now, but they're certainly very capable, some on the way. And now the youngsters at junior gold this week, even the under 12 kids, they have something to look forward to, and it's a pretty cool thing.
It is, and as you mentioned, I'm sure many times on the broadcast already, the next 4 events are full. We had to open them up to accommodate more entries, so it's really exciting. And we've got some incredible players in front of us right now this game. We have, as you talked about earlier, I'm sure you've been talking about her this game before I came in, Jazzy Tan left the split. As soon as I come in the booth, she, of course, splits, but she whacked him this morning. And you could tell why, just watching her throw a couple of shots. You can see she's got it all.
Well, I believe her spare ball has a smiley face on it, so you can't help but get up there and feel just kind of.
It's called a Stormy, Stormy, but it looks more like a Storm Happy.
Well, not sure she's happy about having to throw it there on the string of strikes, but she's got to be pretty happy about her performance overall so far today. Plus 188, she's leading.
Yeah, she's kind of doing what Christina Wendell did last week. There's always someone that's going to figure out the pattern and light them up, and she's the one this week so far.
Well, the format here, unlike anything most of these players have seen, the long format, 12 games of qualifying, pins carry over, and then 16 games of match play with bonus pins. So 28 games of competition, a lot of pins out there. A lot can happen. For a lot of them, they've been to the Queens where they qualify, and then it's match play, double elimination, so all pins are gone at that point. Then it's head-to-head, whether you're number 1 or number 64. The U.S. Women's Open is similar to this, but a much more challenging lane condition most of the time, where they'll qualify over 18 games there and then get into match play again with pins usually carrying over. So if you get out to a good start, it's nice to carry that momentum. So personally, as a bowler, I kind of enjoy these long formats and the chance to just get out there and throw some games and get comfortable. And bowling on these sport patterns can really only make you better.
Absolutely. There's Tish Johnson. She had a good round in the morning. Last PWBA bowler to win here in Lubbock as a PWBA event. So she's sort of, in a way, Matt, the defending champion this week. It's not often, though, that you have to wait 13 years to defend a title.
I was going to say, when the U.S. Women's Open came back in 2007, Kelly Kulik technically was the defending champion from 2003, and that felt like forever.
Yeah.
But certainly very cool. And we talked earlier about the banner presentation, and Alicia Kurt now getting to see her name out there on the end of the lane every time she comes to compete for the rest of her life.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a cool tradition. If you're a player who belongs to the PBA or the PWBA, when you win a title, you get that banner. It's something people can never take away from you.
Well, I say as a PBA member, and I say both times I signed on the dotted line and, got that membership. And as I was writing my name, the first thing I was thinking is, what colors would my banner be if that dream ever did come true?
Yeah.
It has not come true yet. Third place is my best finish.
Okay.
But, in case Tom Clark's watching right now, I would like royal blue with orange letters.
Okay. Why is that?
That is my collegiate colors, University of Florida, the Gators, and in my hometown team, the New York Mets, just happens to be the same colors.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty cool. That's not
I
bad.
think for most of the players out there in the PBA, those choices always have some kind of significance, and just a very cool tradition, and cool to see Alicia get her name hung up out there. Right now it's hanging on lane 20. A little hard to see on the live stream, but it's there, and and it's special.
Well, Erin McCarthy came pretty close to getting a banner a couple months back in the Queens. Finished second to Liz Johnson, and struggling a little bit today. She's minus 94 going into this game, but she can throw 2 more strikes and cut 24 off of that.
Well,
and, we've got a few games. She can get hot, throw a couple big games, and still make this finals.
She came on strong late in the Queens and put up a couple big matches and went undefeated to the #1 seed. And even though she didn't come away with the title, she got a pocket full of cash and a boatload of confidence, I would think, coming into the PWBA tour now.
Gets a handful, and ball just pushes just enough. I mean, I think she probably has the highest rev rate in the field, right? Pretty close.
So Kelly gets a pretty good handful too.
Yeah, Diana she gets a pretty. But I mean, it's pretty close. It's not. But just looking at her, you wouldn't think, if you didn't know anything about how she threw it, you wouldn't look at her and say she's the most powerful player in this field by looking at her. Obviously, but she does it with leverage and power and her legs.
Yeah, very very
Kind
long.
of reminds me of E.J. Tackett on the men's side.
So we have a pretty good mix of talent and styles out here, and some finesse players. We got a couple that can get in and boom it too, and versatility is certainly important. A variety of patterns that we'll see. Last week it was 44 feet, and this week 40 feet. And I imagine that we will see a different pattern every week. Do you guys do you have a plan for that and exactly how that's going to go, or is it going to be a set amount of patterns and just we'll see them over the season?
I know what the patterns are, but if I were to tell anybody, I'd have to kill them.
Fair enough.
Yes.
But I guess most folks now, with the way the PBA's gone with the animal patterns, we'll say this week we're bowling on cheetah, next week we're bowling on chameleon, and of course you don't announce the pattern until it's game time.
I can tell you that every week we will have a pattern.
Fair enough. I know that there was some talk earlier of having a PWBA bank of patterns as well, and I trust you guys and your judgment.
I think that's definitely something that we think of down the road. It's Chris Peters once said, if the PBA was literally starting this week and it hadn't existed for 42 years, you probably wouldn't do patterns as one of your first things. Animal patterns or whatever. We didn't call them animal patterns at the time. They started off as lettered patterns, but you wouldn't be marketing them and licensing them that first year. The first year you focus on getting people to show up, getting people to bowl the tournaments. Once this thing's booming, and right now it's rocking pretty good, then you can start thinking about adding on these extra ways to generate revenue. Once the brand is established, that's definitely something you can think about doing. But it's a lot to manage. Anything you add to this, especially with we're trying to do this lean and mean and be responsible with the money that we have to spend, and basically put most of our revenue into prize money to attract the ladies to bowl, and it's it would be one more thing that someone would have to manage.
Well, it is a 3-year commitment from USBC and BPAA, so it will continue 2 more years, money guaranteed. Right now, a couple of players here on our featured pair have moved on, but they are well in the hunt for some of that prize money. Ashley Rucker, 220. Tania Falbo, 248, 249 today. She is easily going to be in the top 5 now, working her way up the leaderboard there. Brandy Bronca, 242. Tish Johnson, the Hall of Famer, 225. Jazzy Tan, 223. To get her to 200 over. April Murphy, 211. And Aaron McCarthy, 223. Pretty solid game right there.
Yeah, it was a good women's championships team score.
So just like that, we'll get ready for game at number 3. Things are moving along nicely. I know last week, wall-to-wall folks, and a little bit hectic, of course, to start.
Yeah, we had 5 on a pair. It takes a little bit longer to bowl. But we adjusted the schedules for the upcoming events where we opened it to 5 on a pair, so it'll run a lot more smoothly.
So anytime you have a waiting list, not a bad problem to have. That means you're doing something right, that the ladies are coming out to support this, and pretty awesome to see. Dreams coming true. I get to do that as part of my other job at the USBC Open Championships, call people at the end of the event to let them know that their dreams have come true and they are tournament champions, and you get to see that when the players walk in here and just the attention that they get from the staff, and certainly very cool to see the reception here in Lubbock, and a great facility for bowling. Very supportive, and
yeah, I mean, they've been fantastic. They've done a lot of great PBA events in the past, and when we opened it up to announce schedule that we were taking bids for PWBA events, they were one of the first. In fact, Jimbo Evans, the proprietor, personally drove his RFP into the Arlington office in Dallas. So it's a 5-hour drive he made, and personally handed in his RFP because he wanted an event so badly. He wanted to make an impression. So we're happy to be able to make that happen, and now here we are.
Well, I know during the planning process, just the response was pretty great from all the proprietors interested in being a part of this. And it's not really the inaugural season, but it's the return. And all the events being broadcast here on Extra Frame, and it was very cool to see that wire-to-wire coverage.
Yeah, we had a lot of demand for these events. We had 6 or 7 more hosts that wanted events than we were able to accommodate this year. So we're working on starting to build next year's schedule with some of those folks, and then we're going to also open up a new RFP process here in a few weeks so that we can get more bids, and then we're going to work immediately on putting together the schedule for 2016.
Say this was not, maybe it has become, but it was not your full-time gig with USBC, and with the direction that it's headed, is the plan to keep it at the same 10 events or potentially expand?
Well, this year we have 11, counting the Lucy event. I think at this point, yes, that would be the plan. When we can start talking about expanding the number of events or making the prize money bigger in the events that we have. I mean, what do you that's a question you have to ask. You know, would the players rather have more events, or would they rather have more prize money in the events that we have? That's a question you have to ask. But you know, when basically the BPAA and USBC are subsidizing the prize funds, right? So they're putting up money, and then there's some revenue that comes from that in the form of event hosts, fees, and entry fees that the players pay to bowl. You know, for example, this week, you know, we've taken in $33,000 in entry fees, and we're paying out $60,000 in prize money. So that $27,000 has to come from somewhere, right? So part of that's made up by the host fee, and then there are other expenses as well, and it kind of goes back and forth. But when that $27,000 number becomes 0 or plus, that's when you start adding events or prize money. So that's kind of the plan, and I actually think there's a good chance that next year, when we have sponsors coming on board because of the work that we're doing this year, that you might see some expansion in year 3 possibly.
All right, so the whole time you were explaining that, I was thinking, now that we fit the lane conditions and the schedule, how else can I awkwardly put you on the spot here on Extra Frame while we're waiting for the next game to begin?
That sounds like the Above 180 interview I did last week that just got posted.
Still very early in the new schedule, but you know, tons of excitement and momentum, and just, you know, tons of questions that could be asked, of course. And you know, you mentioned talking to the players regularly, I'm sure, via email, social media, even in person after the event, debriefing a little bit what went well, what didn't, how can we do a better job. And I think we're seeing, you know, excellent cooperation and support from the players and promoting the event. And so I would say nothing but success. I can't imagine there were too many bad things to say, and that's great.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, the focus this year, and I said it this morning, and I'll say it again here, and I wrote it in my business plan, which we just did our company-wide first drafts of our business plan for USBC, and mine's obviously PWBA. And the focus this year is on getting these tournaments full with bowlers. And if we do that, then the hosts will see that there's interest in this. They will have lots of people coming out to the events to watch. Lots of people will show up to bowl the Pro-Am events. And if local sponsors see that, then they will want to become involved as well. And then, you know, the host wins, the sponsors win, the players win, and everybody wins. So that's kind of the plan this year, is focus on those things that we have control over, the smaller things, and then you add pieces as you successfully check off your ability to do those things. But, you know, of course, you're always going to want to focus on the core competency of the business, which is, you know, making a great customer service experience for the bowlers.
Well, you certainly can see that on all the players as they walk through, and just the whole professional environment. Some probably not too thrilled with their performances so far, but I mentioned earlier that with the 74-player field and 32 checks, you're pretty much in it the entire time. So
yeah, it's hard to shoot yourself out of it. The conditions have been tough the first 2 weeks. I kind of expected it that first week, but I didn't expect them to play this hard this week. So, you know, but I think the ladies like this. I think they like to be challenged. They want to be challenged. I haven't had a single person come up to me and say that the lanes are too hard. You know, I talked to Steve Cook last week, and, you know, he said, you know, he enjoys it when you know, you have some scores and people get excited, but he also was fine with you know, the fact that the players had to work for their score. So you know, I think that's the balance you have to strike. You don't want to make it so hard that it's a U.S. Open every week and people are being, you know, beaten into the ground because you can't score at all. But they also don't want it so easy that, you know, if you shoot 230, you're losing ground to the field.
Well, with the long schedule, certainly going to see a mix of different lane conditions, I'm sure. Every week a different challenge. And I would think the players would expect that. They want to come out here and know that they're going to have to make good shots. This is professional bowling. And
Right.
most of them are conditioned already to understand that and be able to perform on those conditions.
Right. And, you know, the thing about it is if you bowl well, you can score. I mean, Jazzy Tan averaged 237 the first block, and Aaron McCarthy's, you know, wheeled off the last 10 strikes. So if you play them right and you're throwing the ball well, you can score.
Well, I would think at some point we're going to
Have some bowlers in front of us?
have some bowlers
Yeah.
trying to throw the ball well and score, but somehow we managed to have the only pair in the house with nobody.
It's probably because I'm here. Nobody wants to bowl in front of me because they know I'm a black cloud.
Well, way to go, Jason Thomas, scaring away all of the players, and now the poor folks at home watching on Extra Frame, who hopefully had their sound turned off by now,
I would hope so.
are patiently waiting.
There's Kelly Kulik. She had a slow start to the tournament this morning.
So looking at the prize fund on PWBA.com right now, it says subject to change. I think this is kind of the generic minimum prize fund that we'll see.
The only change that would happen would be if less than 32 people showed up, we'd pay less spots.
Of course.
Or, well, the other checks would just go to you and I, right?
Even better, yeah.
But no, it would actually not do that. So please don't take me seriously on that.
But
no, if we had more than 96, we'd add more checks to make it a minimum 1 in 3 payout.
well, now last week we saw Alicia Curran take home $12,000 for first place.
Yes.
A sold-out field in Sacramento. Is there going to be any change this week, or is this it?
That's it. Yeah. The reason we did that last week was we had a presenting sponsor for the event, and the presenting sponsor requested that the money that they were putting in went to the ladies, and we accommodated that. So it was great. It helped get the tour off to the right start. We had some concerns just because you have an event on the West Coast and you're not sure how many people can make the trip, all the way across the country to do that. And so we had some extra money for them to bowl for. Plus, it was the first quote-unquote tour stop. The PWBA officially kicked off with the Queens, but that was in May, and it was kind of out on its own in terms of where it was scheduled. So Sacramento was really kind of the kickoff of the tour portion of the PWBA. And we were hoping to get 60, and we ended up filling at 64, then adding 16 to make it 80, and then we still had 23 on the waiting list. So, and then there were another 10 players that went to Japan for the World Bowling Tour event. So that was about as good of a turnout as anybody. I'm sure nobody predicted, the turnout that we ended up getting.
Well, again, a great problem to have, and here we are, finally underway with game number 3. Carolyn Dorton-Ballard getting things started off, the Hall of Famer. On 19 and 20, Krista Carlisle. Sherry Tan from Singapore. Looks like Debbie Ayers, a senior player. We saw her shoot 299 at the Queens a couple years ago, so always hits the major events. And here she is on the tour. Our other pair here, 17 and 18, Claire Guerrero. And the left-hander, Brandy Sanderson.
I don't know if you had Claire on this morning, or if you know the story of what happened, but she actually dislocated a rib yesterday and had to go to the hospital. Wasn't sure if she was going to be able to even bowl. and said, hey guys, I'm going to give it a go, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it. And here she was after the first round in second place. So she's one tough cookie. I don't think I'd be doing anything if I had a dislocated rib, let alone bowling a 12-game round of qualifying.
Well, that's how appreciative she is of having the opportunity to be a professional bowler here on the PWBA Tour. And after one game this block, she still was in 5th place.
Yes, I asked her how she was doing this morning, and I saw her, and she said it hurts like a very naughty word that she said. Yeah, and I believe her, and even though that word you wouldn't picture coming out of her mouth. But yeah, it was. I'm just hoping she can make it.
Well, she's always got the tape around the knee. I guess there's some things she just can't put tape on. But had you not told that story, you definitely cannot tell in her performance or in her demeanor here.
No, I mean she's tough as nails. I mean, anyone who can, will their way to make a TV show on the PBA tour, men's tour. She's not really afraid of much, and obviously has a much higher tolerance for pain than I do.
Well, looks like she struggled a little bit in game number 8, coming in here at plus 39. So she lost.
Yeah, hopefully
31
it's
pins there.
not due to injury.
But still well within the cash number. Should be in the top 16 still. We'll have that updated for you here momentarily. The rest of the pair struggling a little bit. Heather D'Erico.
Yeah, that just shows you how tough they are. She missed a little in, and that just had no chance of even hitting the head pin.
Some of the international players and Team USA members are comparing this 40-foot pattern to Athens, which they've seen at various international events, one of the WTBA patterns. Categorized as medium at 40 feet on their bank on the website.
Yeah, and unlike the country of Greece, there's not a whole lot of bailout on this pattern. Do you like that?
Thomas,
you like that joke?
bring in the jokes.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know what else to say.
That was pretty solid. That was a good one. I have to admit.
Well, since you're throwing out facts, I'm going to throw one out as well. Stepping up on lane 18, Brooke Bauer. Once all the scores and everything is verified and finalized, she will be a champion at the USBC Women's Championships.
That's
winning
fantastic.
A diamond singles title this year in Reno.
What was her 3 games score?
781 or 782.
It's impressive.
But yes, coming out and showing the folks how to do it. She bowled at the end of the event.
That's a cool trophy that you get for winning those events there at the women's championships.
So Bauer from Kutztown University, 781 on June 25th. And the event concluded on June 30th. So not a huge wait for her. That was her second Women's Championships appearance. Off to a great start to her young career. We talked about her earlier. One of these players came through the feature pair the first time. So no strikes posted yet on 17 and 18. If you're just joining us, this is game 3 of 6 here at the PWBA Lubbock Sports Open. This is Matt Canizaro alongside Jason Thomas. Jason, the Director of Operations for the PWBA Tour. After this qualifying block, the field will be cut to the top 16 for tomorrow's round-robin match play. CDP with the 10 pin. So again, still no strikes on 17 and 18. And a little bit hard to come by here on 19 and 20. Man behind the scenes here, tournament director Damon Sirocco.
Yeah, just he brought something to my attention. It's amazing all the little details that go into running an event like this. You know, I've always, when I worked for Extra Frame, was aware of them and that they existed. I just never had to worry about them before. You know, if the squad went off late or ended late on Extra Frame, it didn't matter. We just covered it. But the number of things that affects when you're, you know, trying to oversee everything, it's amazing all the things that go on behind the scenes. So just if you're a competitive bowler yourself or just somebody who's interested in watching the events, you know, you have to have some appreciation for you know, all the work that goes on behind the scenes to do these events. It's definitely a lot of coordination involved. And the best thing that can happen is at the end of the week, nobody notices that what we did. Yeah. Because if they noticed, that meant something went wrong.
Well, nothing going wrong for Sherry Tan here in game number 3. Starting off with a 3-bagger. Scores updated through 8 games now. Jazzy Tan hanging on to the top spot, plus 211. Missy Parkin, she started the day on our live stream pair with 279. She's now at plus 170. Danielle McEwen, Team USA member, plus 127. And Tania Falbo up to 4th place after going 240, 240. She's at plus 116. Daphne Tan rounding out the top 5. And again, the international representation continues here in the top 16. Singapore, throughout the day, has had as many as 5 players in the top 16. Right now, the number is plus 9. Stephanie Johnson hanging on.
You could tell every time Clara throws a shot, she's trying to loosen up that left rib.
And the last check right now, the number minus 27.
Yeah, I believe it took minus 18 last week, Matt, for the last check. Field of 80. So probably similar. It's going to end up in a similar place here this week.
Sherry Tan, the left-hander. 4 for 4. She is tied for 14th right now at plus 13. So looking to make a move here in game number 9.
Always nice to have a little cushion with a couple games to go. Nobody wants to be right on the number unless you were 100 out of the number and you just shot 300.
Clara not shooting 300, but delivering her first strike here. She is coming into this game in 11th place at plus 39. 372 for her first 2 here after the break. Last week's runner-up, Christina Wendell, just outside the cash number at minus 28. She's had kind of an up and down day. And last week's winner, Alicia Current, down in 48th place at minus 93. But while we have this opportunity, Jason, we're early in game number 3. Not getting to the exciting point of the day yet where we're crunching numbers. But tell us a little bit about the PWBA Players Championship at the end of the season, a season-ending event. You have to qualify to get there. But just tell us about that, how you get there, and what that's all about.
Yeah, the Tour Championship is going to be a fantastic event. It'll be in Arlington at the end of the season. 16 players will qualify for it. All of the champions from this season's events who are members will qualify. And then the rest of the field will be filled out based on the points list. So that's how you get there. The number 1 seed and the number 2 seed will be automatically seeded onto the show. There'll be 4 spots on the show, and 2 of them will be taken by the 1 and 2 seeds. And then the rest will be determined by single elimination bracket format. So there'll be players will all be seeded. The 3 and 4 seeds from the season will get 1 bye, and then it'll just run like a regular bracket. And there'll be best of 5 matches, and whoever makes the show, and then we'll have the Player of the Year and the Rookie of the Year after that show. We'll know who they are. We're going to award points for that show, and Player and Rookie of the Year will be determined by points, and we'll be able to announce who the Player and the Rookie of the Year are right there at that show. Rookie of the Year is interesting this year, isn't it? Because you've got, it's probably the best rookie crop in the history of any sport. You got people like Missy Parkin and Shannon Plahowski and people who are already, champion level players and have won, events that we have on our schedule but weren't PWBA events at the time. They're rookies this year. So it's going to be an interesting race for Rookie of the Year.
Well, and that's just another one of those questions a lot of folks had, and what qualifies you and what doesn't. We talked earlier about getting your picture on the website and what qualifies you to get there, and just a lot of discussion surrounding the PWBA, and that's fantastic. And I know at one point we talked about the titles over the last decade, Queens and U.S. Women's Open, where those fell in, and at least people are talking about women's bowling. That's the best part.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting process because, we had to build a website before we had members. So who do you put on the website if you don't have members? It's a tricky question. So we had to, contact players who we thought would be members, and we did letters of intent, and those players that said they were planning on being members would sign those letters of intent, and we put their bios on the website based on that. And a couple of them actually decided, they weren't going to be able to join, so had to take their bios down. But it's a weird process because, when I was with the PBA back in 2000, when they relaunched the tour, we rebuilt the website, and I was part of that. But we knew who the members were. We knew what the schedule was going to be. When we did this, we didn't know any of that stuff. We had to build it all from scratch. So it was interesting. the schedule, the finishing of the schedule was actually the event that caused us to launch the website. So we figured if we don't have a schedule, we can't really have a website. And if we're going to have a schedule and we're going to have a website, we probably should have some players on there. So it was just an interesting process to try to piece together.
Well, it's certainly fun being a part of that process, and we talked a lot and heard a lot about the fact that that this could happen someday, and then it did, and even internally, I think it was a welcome surprise for a lot of us, and then to be able to be a part of it and help it unfold, and here we are, just a couple events in, and things going very well, and now the players, they see it all happening, and they want to be the ones with their pictures on the website, and they want their names hanging on the lanes next to Alicia Current and Missy Parkin. So, it's in talking to some of the players, talked to Liz Culkin in depth a little bit for a couple stories back when she had to make a decision. She was just getting done at Nebraska, and do I go out on tour? Is it gonna be the real thing? Is it gonna be good money? Is it gonna be what everybody remembers or hoped it would be? Or do I go to grad school and go to real life and bowl when I can? And she of course made the commitment, made the TV show at the Queens, and she bowled last week in Sacramento, and she'll get to the ones that she can and bowl other events when she can. And right now it's all about bowling. And for some, we talked about Erin McCarthy earlier, has a job that allows her to work her schedule around bowling, so she can do both. And some are full-time bowlers. This is what they do, and they travel and they represent their companies and go to trade shows and coaching clinics. And Deandra Asbady has her own company, and or 5 or 6 or 7, and she's very
right.
very busy in the bowling world, but focused on bowling primarily. And now there's a tour a couple days a week. You make some really good money. Some of these players, just for one day's work, are going to take home at least $1,200 and still be back in time to go to work on Monday.
Yeah, I mean that was part of it too. Is you wanted to be able to allow the ladies a chance to still have a life, their regular life, and then do this in addition to that. So it accommodates a huge variety of different needs for these ladies, and it's going to be a learning process as we kind of figure out what kinds of things the ladies like, what kinds of things they don't like, how to accommodate the different needs that they might have. So it's fun. It is fun. It's a learning process, and it's a big challenge. And if you like challenges, then you would like being involved with this.
Well, you just gave me another opportunity to ask a question as we watch. We're halfway through game number 3 here, but we talk about partnerships and the industry coming together for the PWBA Tour, and working with the PBA with Extra Frame, and the PBA truck outside, of course, drilling balls for the players and during the break. But the PBA regional program also really embracing the women with the PBA women's points list, and part of their World Series of Bowling TV show the last couple of years, and now having even some PWBA regional events. And really the way that the schedule works out, the players can have a pretty good week and get a check on a Friday and actually travel potentially to a regional event that's nearby if they didn't make the cut, and hit that over the weekend. But what can you say about the partnership there and the regional programs?
Well, the partnership's great. I mean, Tom Clark deserves all the credit for the start of it. He had the PBAW program, and that program allowed women to bowl against the men in regional competition throughout the country and earn points toward a special telecast that the point leaders in each region could qualify for at the World Series of Bowling. So before he finalized his plans for this year, he reached out and said, "Hey, what if we made this a PWBA thing?" And So we said, yeah, that'd be a great idea. He and Kirk Von Kruger came out to Arlington, and we had a meeting, and we just talked about everything. And it was very apparent that there were some things that we were going to be doing with the PWBA that made sense, that the PBA could be involved in, such as putting the events on Extra Frame, so that it elevates the level of the competition on the ladies tour to the same level as the men's tour. It gave the PBA a lot of great content over the summer when they always had traditionally lost subscribers and had to wait until the World Series to get those subscribers back. So it looks like now we're giving Extra Frame fans a reason to continue subscribing through the summer by airing all the PWBA events on Extra Frame. And then, in return for that, the PBA offered, player services assistance by sending the truck each week and giving us an opportunity to have the ladies be able to drill bowling balls, for all the manufacturers to have their equipment moved from week to week, as well as the ladies who want to bowl all the different stops on the tour, a chance to put their equipment on the truck and have them transported from week to week. So those things are a great start. I think our business models are different, which is a good thing, because our focus is more on local markets and getting tournament entries, and we feel like if we can do a really good job with that, then sponsors will become interested, and at some point we'll be ready to try to get more television and get into the quote-unquote big leagues that the PBA is already in with that television business. And the PBA can help with that, because that's the business that they're in. So there's just so many reasons why working together makes sense. And of course, me coming from the PBA, being a PBA, basically a lifer almost, and just have the relationship that I have with Tom and everybody else there at the PBA, it makes sense for us to work together and help each other. So it's a great thing.
Some of these players, of course, found success on the PBA Tour and in the regional program. I believe Carolyn Doran-Ballard was the first lady to roll back-to-back 300 games in PBA regional competition. Missy Parkin, Claire Guerrero, Liz Johnson all have PBA regional titles. Kelly Kulik, Kelly with the big one, the Tournament of Champions. On the national tour, Liz Johnson and Clara both have made TV shows as well for the PBA. So just great things happening all around, and terrific partnership and opportunities. And these players really could bowl every weekend of the year if they wanted to, plus some other great events that we see and a lot of other live streaming entities and all these different teams popping up, Team Harvey and Team this and Team that, and players really getting together and buying into the whole package and bowling for a living. It's a thing again.
Yeah, look out for Kelly Kulik. She's just off to the right of our featured pair, and she was minus 21 going into this game, and going into the 10th now, she's got a chance for 277. So look out for her.
Always do, of course, and we talk about these longer formats, and the players, the ladies like to play the lanes a little bit straighter and towards the outside part generally, and Kelly's one that can take advantage of that, and you really see her shine as the block goes on and the lanes start to open up. She can get left and wheel it, and you mentioned that she wasn't feeling well this week and a lot of traveling, and things catch up with you, but she is a trooper, and she is full on here to support and represent the PWBA, and now making a nice run here in Game 3 of this second block.
Well, we talked about it this morning. We said, she's just as much talking with her ball rep about, what to do at the end of the block as she was what to do at the beginning of the next block. And it looks like she's got a little bit of a different game plan coming out today. She looks like she's a little further right, and looks like she's figured something out. which is bad news for the rest of the field.
Well, she's plus 49 through 2 games here on the afternoon squad, and still 270 possible. Looks like that might be the third best effort through 2 games here, and string comes to an end with a 7-pin there, but keep an eye on Kelly on the live scoring available through Merrick. You can find that at pwba.com/live, and as she moves on to her next pair of lanes, keep up with how she's doing as things start to get exciting here. Just 3 games left after this, and then we'll have our top 16 determined for match play tomorrow, beginning bright and early. You can find the schedule on pwba.com. Match play will be on the air here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 local time. If you're nearby, come on out, check it out. Bonus pins up for grabs. Then we'll have the step ladder tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 here in Lubbock. Recently saw a first-time PBA Tour winner here in EJ Tackett.
Yeah,
Could we see another first-time winner?
Possibly. I like the first-time winners. It's very cool giving a player their banner for the first time. That's a pretty neat moment.
I actually did not know that was a tradition, to be honest. I've seen it where you just kind of walk in the next week and it's just hanging there, and then you see it for the first time, and I'm sure you get the feeling. Got that back in junior bowling, but never in the big leagues here.
Yeah, I don't know if they used to do that on the PBA Tour when it toured week to week, and I don't recall ever seeing it happen when I worked for the PBA either, having a presentation for the player getting their new banner. But I could be wrong. I might have been busy worrying about whether the live stream was working properly when that was going on. But it's a very cool thing. I mean, it's awesome to recognize people for their accomplishments, and I think that's what this whole thing is about. It gives us a chance to acknowledge how talented and deserving these ladies are to have a place to showcase their talents.
Well, if that video wasn't terrible, we'll see a recap of that moment, or at least a screenshot
of it. It's posted.
It's
It's on YouTube. Yeah, it's probably already got 6 million views.
What was it? Jason Thomas original. How could it not? 40 views.
Wow. See, it's already gone viral.
Well, everybody out there, get on over to youtube.com/bowltv.
You see, the NFL Ticket Exchange is already advertising on it, so that tells you how big it is.
You can see most of Jason Thomas. Oh, there it is. Jason Thomas's head. Alicia Current looking at the banner. Did she know that was going to happen? Or did she kind of figure it out?
She didn't until this. She walked in for this round, and we said we needed her on lanes 19 and 20. Yeah, big smile on her face. It was pretty cool.
Definite surprise, and then Jimbo Evans walking that down the lanes, and is now hanging up over lane 20. Very cool.
So CDB slapping one off, tripping the 4 there in the 10th, and she could shoot 224, and that would put her pretty close to the number. She's currently minus 11. So that, if she were to throw another 2, would get her to plus 13. The number right now, plus 9.
CDB 24th coming into this game. Cut number plus 9. Tenth frame also underway on 17 and 18. Claire Guerrero with the split, the 4-10. Looks like we might need a score correction here.
There's just not any hold. That wasn't a bad shot. I think Clara actually kind of liked it, and just creeps a little bit high and doesn't break down the split.
Well, CDB delivers, so she'll be in the 220s with good count here. Debbie Ayers can get to the 2 teens. She can double up. And Sherry Tan making things happen. Still has 268. Really, Jason, one big game can get you in the hunt here for either a check or to get into the top 16 for match play, and nothing else. Even though there's really only a $100 difference between 16th and 17th, that's a ton of experience there getting into match play and just getting comfortable with the format and getting some more games in.
Yeah, you just want to grind it out and try to catch a good game here and there, and that's all you need to do. CDB with 222. So she goes from minus 11 to plus 11. And 3 more games to go.
Well, it's going to get exciting, and there's a possibility we're not going to capture all the excitement and action here on Extra Frame as it winds down, but we'll have a recap for you tonight at pwba.com and on bowl.com, also on social media at PWBA Tour on Twitter, and of course the PWBA Facebook page.
I thought you were going to say possibility of a tie. Pull out the Bo Burton.
I don't know that any
line
tournament director or director of operations necessarily enjoys the possibility of a tie and a roll off.
We were not enjoying it last week when our pro-am was already 2 hours late. So we were praying for not a tie. That's what we were doing.
Well, as we watch our final shots here of game number 3, Brandy Sanderson working on a string of strikes here, trying to get back in the hunt a little bit. And Sherry Tan still with 260 max, 268. We do have a Pro-Am coming up tonight, and sounds like last week's went really well. What can we expect from a PWBA Pro-Am? Is it going to be different at each event, or is there a standard format that we can look forward to?
It's different. It's the choice of the bowling center. We obviously don't want it to be a 6-game, marathon. But last week it was 3 games, 3-6-9, no tap, and it was completely full, and everyone had a great time. This week it's going to be 3 games, 3-6-9, but not no tap. And week to week, I think we'll see probably similar formats, but maybe a little twists based on the local tastes and the local flavors. It's really up to the host as to how they want to run it and how they want to market it. So it may vary just a little bit from city to city, but the one thing that will be true in all of them is that it will be a lot of fun.
Well, certainly cool to see the local support and those folks wanting to come out and bowl alongside the pros. Some they remember from back in the day, and some they've seen bowling on ESPN or CBS Sports collegiately.
Yeah, or on the Queens or the U.S. Open telecasts. U.S. Women's Open. 257 for Sherry Tan, and these ladies are done, and I think I'm done as well, Matt Canizero.
All right, we have successfully worn Jason Thomas out. So we will get ready for game number 4 and start getting the calculator ready. As we wind down, we'll have the updated standings for you as soon as they're available. with 3 games to go. Jason, thanks for joining us again.
You're welcome. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you guys are enjoying all the action on Extra Frame, and be sure to tune in tomorrow to watch the finals. It should be an exciting finish.
All right, game 4 coming up. That is the Director of Operations, Jason Thomas, alongside Matt Canizaro here, and I will be back with you in just a moment as game 4 gets underway. Thanks for joining us. Well, let's meet some of our players here for game number 4. 17 and 18 right now. Sandy Charles, Texas standout. And Daphne Tan working her way up the standings as well. Team USA members Brittany Hamilton and Shannon Pluhowski here on 19 and 20. Samantha sat in there as well. Got some challenging names to say. Brittany Himmelreich on 18 there. And Christina Wojciechowski, we'll just call her Christina W the rest of this game. Looks like everybody in game number 4 will have the standings updated for you through 9 in just a couple minutes. Looks like Shannon Plahowski, the only one on 19 and 20 who's plus. And if that's correct, plus 40. Puts her right around the top 10 or 12. Do appreciate everybody joining us for our continued coverage. PWBA Lubbock Sports Open here at South Plains Lanes. Great shot there by Samantha, and only a 10 pin to show for it. Get down to pressure situation for some of the players, and this is where you start squeezing if you weren't already. If you're in the cut trying to stay there, if you're on the outside looking in trying to get there. For some, it's a thrill. For others, makes you a nervous wreck. Plahowski looking for the double. 10-pin does not cooperate. High flush. Again, if you have a favorite player and you want to follow along, you can do so at pwba.com/live. Live scoring there. Just pick a lane. See how your favorite players are doing. All right, so we're at the halfway point here of game number 4. No strings going here. We do have scores through 9 games to share with you, though. Jazreel Tan still on top, plus 232. Mercy Park in second place, plus 177. Then a tie for third, Chania Falbo and Danielle McEwen at plus 118. Falbo plus 99. This squad, or this block, having a great time after the break. Ali Jams 5th at plus 97, and then a little bit of a drop off. Sherry Tan in 6th at plus 70. Shayna Ung plus 62. Tie for 8th. Kayla Bandy and Josie Ernest, plus 53. And Daphne Tan, you're watching her right now on lane 18, rounding out the top 10 at plus 52. Cut number right now, Carolyn Doran Ballard, the Hall of Famer, plus 11 is the number. And a handful of players in and out of the top 16 over the last few games. Numbers very close. Right now, 14th place is plus 16, and 22nd place is plus 2. So not a lot of separation there as the players battle to get into the number. Right now, that cash number at minus 37. The left-hander Ashley Rucker from Oklahoma. She bowled at Arkansas. Minus 37 is your cash spot, and handful of players in the minus 40s and 50s still just a couple of strikes away from getting in there. Again, 74 players in the field this week at the PWBA Lubbock Sports Open. Narrow the field down to the top 16. 32 will get checked, so nearly half will take home some prize money. A lot of support here this week. Parents and friends and family members making the trip to Lubbock. South Plains Lanes, fantastic tournament host, so those in attendance are in for an enjoyable time. So stepping up on lane 20 now, Christina is a local bowler here in Lubbock, Texas, and enjoying the PWBA experience. Struggling a little bit today, but working on a string of strikes here, trying to have a big game 4 here on this afternoon block. All right, so we're in the 10th frame here. Daphne Tan struggling a little bit, finishes with 179. Sandy Charles will be in the 150s this game. right, so 17 and 18, not wasting any time, getting those scores changed. Getting ready for game number 5 here. And we're getting ready to wrap up the 9th frame on 19 and 20. Again, you're watching live coverage of the PWBA Lubbock Sports Open here at South Plains Lanes. Got 2 games left before we find out who the top 16 will be for match play tomorrow. All right, so 10th frame underway here. The local, Christina, stepping up. We'll wrap things up first. On lane 19, and Samantha trying to hang in there. Minus 82 coming into game number 4. All right, Christina 210, and she had it in 190. Hamilton and Pluhowski are going to wrap things up here on our featured pair. Pluhowski with a couple of opens here late in the game. Strikes in her first shot, can get to 193. She's in the top 16 right now, trying to hold on to that spot. Hamilton in 41st, trying to work her way up into the cash number. So the shot at 234. That one got in and never really had a chance as she leaves the 4-7. Plahowski being the 190s, and Hamilton looking around for something to maybe try a different ball, but looks like she's going to stick with that one. And with that, Plahowski 193, Hamilton 214. Game 4 in the books. 2 games to go here, and we'll know our top 16. We'll have continued coverage tomorrow here on Extra Frame, starting at 8:30 local time, 9:30 on the East Coast. Game 5 getting underway, and we'll get the names situated here in just a moment. Saw these ladies earlier today on 17 and 18. Now they're going to be on 19 and 20. And some newcomers on 17 and 18 now, led by Hall of Famer Anne-Marie Dugan. Get to catch up with her at the Queens. We're well eligible for the senior event. Chose to compete in the regular Queens and bowled well. She is clearly kept up with her physical game and ready to be competitive on the PWBA Tour as she was years ago. Singapore, Shayna Ung made the TV show at the USBC Queens in 2013. Deandra Asbeidi won the Queens in 2012. Shane Ung right now in 7th place after 9 games, so scores not yet updated for 10 games. Dugan was right around the minus 100 mark, down in the 40s in the standings before game 10. As Beatty a little bit farther down. So we'll have the updated scores for you momentarily. On our other pair, Katie Jensen and Megan Kelly. Alicia Herder and Courtney Bolin. Still waiting on the Game 10 standings, and right now, Game 11 rolling along. Again, these players are competing on a 40-foot laning condition this week. 26.55 mils of oil, Kegel ice oil to be exact, put out by the Kegel Flex lane machine. Best in the business. Kegel folks on site every week of the PWBA Tour to make sure the lane conditions are just right. last week's PWBA Storm Sacramento Open qualifying leader was Christina Wendell at plus 352. Average 229.33. The number to make the cut, Maria Jose Rodriguez, plus 122. And in order to get a check, minus 21, an average of 198.25. So the score is actually a little bit lower overall this week, which is interesting. Jason Thomas kind of speculated looking at the patterns that maybe it would be higher scoring this week in Lubbock, Texas, and so far not necessarily the case, but either way, 74 bowlers this week, 32 will take home some prize money, and they'll battle for 1.5 more games here. At the end of last week's event, the step ladder finals, top 4 advanced to the TV show, which was broadcast live here on Extra Frame. First match, Missy Parkin defeated Rocio Restrepo 216 to 202. Parkin then fell to eventual champion Alicia Current 248-233. And Current continued her striking ways in the championship match, downing Wendell 246-194 to get her name on the banner that now hangs over lane 20. And a $12,000 prize check. Wendell took home $6,000 for second place, $4,500 for Parkin in third, and $3,500 for Restrepo in fourth place. This week's winner will take home $10,000, the standard PWBA prize fund. All spots are guaranteed. So whether they get 33 entries or 95 entries, the champion expected to take home $10,000. Last cash spot, $1,200. So essentially, if you're a PWBA member, 4 times your money. For getting in that cash number. Still waiting on a Game 10 update. All right, 10 game standings available on PWBA.com. They've been very quick about getting those updated, and will do so throughout the rest of today and tomorrow for match play. Jazz Real Tan extends her lead. She is plus 269. Tania Falbo continuing to get things done here in the afternoon. Shot 920 for 4 games. Alright, so it looks like we'll ignore the block totals here, but Falbo in second place at plus 139. Danielle McEwen holding close at plus 134. Missy Parkin plus 114. And rounding out the top 5, Allie Ijams. IGM's at plus 94. cut right now for the top 16, down to +6. Hugh Fen New from Singapore. And a couple players just a few pins back. Carolyn Doran Ballard +1. Sarah Loker +1. Christina Wendell even. Tish Johnson at -7. So anything can happen here in the final 2 games, and it could get pretty exciting here on site at South Plains Lanes in Lubbock, Texas. There's a tie for 31st place right now for that final cash spot. Last week's champion, Alicia Current, and the last person to make match play last week, Maria Jose Rodriguez at -43. But many players within 20 or so pins trying to get there with 2 games to go. Some players already done with game 5. And some separation here on our featured pairs. As Beatty, 2012 Queens champ, with the baby split on lane 18. She's at -92. Looks like she shot 220 last game to get up to 45th place. Looking to grab a few more sticks here. Anne-Marie Dugan not too far behind at -105. She's 48th. Juliana Franco of Columbia, a little farther down the standings in 54th place at -134. So 3 players relatively close in the standings here, looking to make a quick move, but they're running out of time, so they're going to have to start stringing some strikes like Shayna Ung, who enters this game in 7th place at +73. Our other pair, Courtney Bolin, in 38th place at -71. About 30 pins out. Katie Jensen right there as well, -72. Megan Kelly, who made the cut last week in Sacramento, 53rd place at -131. And Herder nearby at minus 122. Well, the roller coaster ride continues for some folks, and a terrible break there for Asbady as she's knocking on the door, trying to get there. 710 doesn't cooperate. However, not the worst place for it. She struck on the first shot in the 10th. So she'll be a couple pins in the black here. Obviously not as much as she would have hoped for. But in position to make a run at a check with the big final game. All right, so as Beatty finishes with 211, Shayna Ung will climb her way up the standings a little bit with 255. Again, she was 7th at plus 73. Will make her way up into the top 5, most likely. Dugan's looking at another 170 game here. Would be cool to get some thoughts from some of the longtime players like Anne Marie and Carolyn and really get their thoughts on the PWBA Tour being back and just the talent level now with all of these players, maybe compared to what it was a dozen years ago. Now that sport bowling's been around a while and collegiate bowling is what it has become. So Dugan finishes with 175, Franco 179. We'll wait for our other featured pair. Coming up next here at the PWBA Lubbock Sports Open, the official Pro-Am will happen at 8 p.m. tonight. That's 1 hour from now. Got one game of qualifying left before we determine who our top 16 will be for match play tomorrow. And then we'll be back on the air here on Extra Frame at 8:30 local time, 9:30 Eastern. Again, this is Matt Cannizzaro making the jump here to the big leagues. My guest appearance at this third PWBA Tour event of the 2015 season. Lucas Wiseman kicked things off at the USBC Queens. I was there being the story guy. And then Lucas covered things last week in Sacramento, but off at Junior Gold right now. Finding out who the new Junior Team USA members will be. Our final game underway. 17 and 18. Crystal, Kayla, Marsha, and Lindsay. Try to make some magic happen here in the final game. Crystal down a little bit in the standings. Probably not going to grab a check this week. And without knowing how game 11 went, don't want to make any assumptions, of course. Marsha was down in 56th after 10 at minus 141. Kayla Bandy, a former Junior Team USA member and standout at Pikeville. Now in collegiate coach. All right, Boland's going to start the 10th frame here in just a minute on 19 and 20. Again, Bolin 38th place at minus 71 coming into this game. He's going to be in the 170 max score here with a spare. Megan Kelly finishes with 140. Bolin makes the spare for 170. Now Herder's going to step up on lane 20. My sources tell me she's a former Team USA member as well, and holding her own here on the new PWBA Tour. Tough game here on our featured pair, 19 and 20. Looks like the highest possible high score will be 171 if either or both of these players can strike on the fill ball. So Jensen finishes with 171. Herder trying to match her, and it does not. So a pair of 170s. Bit of a struggle here in game number 11. We'll have the exciting conclusion of today's action here coming right up. One pair already almost halfway through the final game. And we'll wait on our final few players as we draw closer to the exciting conclusion. All right, so we're just minutes away from the end of the block. Josie Ernest, Stevie Morse. Hugh Fenn New trying to stay in the cut number here for the top 16. And Dawn Horton from Lubbock is our fourth player here. Lindsay Boomershine trying to guarantee herself at least a check. And again, we don't have the game 11 scores yet, but after 10, Lindsay was 37th at minus 68. Now working on the front 5. So depending on how game 11 went, could be trying to bowl her way into the top 16 right now with a terrific shot there. Her good friend Alicia Current picked up the win last week at the PWBA Storm Sacramento Open. Should have an update for you very soon as we start to speculate who we're going to see tomorrow on Match Play beginning at 9:30 Eastern here on Extra Frame. Tomorrow's pace of play, of course, will be a little bit faster. Just 2 on a pair, but a few more games. 16 games of round robin match play, 30 bonus pins up for grabs. And then the stepladder finals, the top 4 will advance. That'll be tomorrow evening, live from South Plains Lanes. Remember to set your alarm. And with everything going on in the bowling world, Junior Gold live stream coverage wrapping up today. TV shows being filmed right now. If you're a bowling fan, today was a great day to see the next generation and watch women's bowling. Last week's PWBA event. No doubt made the extra frame subscription fee well worth it. A lot of excitement at the event and around the event. Media really picking up. Same here in Lubbock. Definitely some excitement. Local news coverage. We'll get a story out to the media. TV stations have been here all day long, getting some great coverage, so look forward to seeing that on the news tonight. Lindsey Boomershine. Boomershine with 8 in a row here. And still waiting on that update after 11 games to see what kind of move she's making here. Kayla Bandy also with a string going. Marsha Klumpkin working on a double. And with only 74 players in the field, a lot of potential to get into the top 32. At worst, Jason Thomas said PWBA players will have a 1 in 3 chance to get a prize check of at least $1,200. Not bad for a $300 entry fee for PWBA members. I believe it's $400 for non-members. You can find all those details at pwba.com. But if you're going to enter, hurry up and do so. Many of the events already selling out. Even with opening up extra spots, just not enough room to accommodate all the interest, which is a great problem to have. All right, here's Boomershine getting ready to step up on lane 18. Big money on the line, so you can get into the top 16. She was 37th at minus 68 before game 11. We don't have that score yet, but another 90 or 100 pins here in game 12 absolutely will help, regardless of what game 11 was. Well, here she is on lane 18. 8 in a row, looking for 9. Mixes them up, but the 7 pin does not cooperate. Big crowd on hand here in Lubbock, and let out a big group sigh there, and the string came to an end. Josie Ernest is working on a 4-bagger. 10 pin uncooperative for her. So Missy Parkin has the front 7. One pair to our left. Keep an eye on that. Be interested to see if anybody's going to catch Jazreel Tan. Shine up on 17, can still get to the 270s. Another terrific shot. All right, the 3-time women's championships titleist. Of course, without that score update, still not sure, but you can find the recap and the final standings tonight on PWBA.com. And live coverage again here, PWBA.com/live, beginning tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 local time. All right, Crystal and Lindsay gonna wrap things up here for their day. Crystal will move on to the next. A little bit of a struggle here in Lubbock. We are patiently waiting to see where Boomershine is gonna land. She'll finish with 269. See if she just bowled her way into the cut. I think at least a check for sure. Marsha Klumpkin might be a little too far down, but we'll know here shortly. Kayla Bandy was in the number after 10. She was 9th at plus 58. Looks like Lindsay Boomershine was in 19th place at minus 10 after 11 games, so that puts her at plus 59, and that very well could be enough to get her into the top 16. Got the scrolling results here on site. And we'll let it come back around one more time. So Marsha Klumpkin finishes with 223. Kayla Bandy is going to be at 203 with a strike here. Should be in the top 16. It's coming back around here on our scroller. I'm going to stand up, see if I can take a look. Jazzy Tan leading at plus 273. Nobody even close. Danielle McEwen second at 134. 128 for Shayna Ung. Plus 113 for Missy Parkin, it looks like. A little bit hard to see from here. Looks like 16th was plus 11. After 11 games, Tania Falbo falling out of the top 10. Interesting, as well as she was bowling. All right, not sure what's happening down on the scoreboard there, but definitely interesting. Damon Sirocco coming this way. I'm going to ask him real quick, and we'll have our final frames for you here in just a minute. All right, so the 10th frame underway here on our featured pair, and then we'll get busy with the recap and such here. All right, folks, so we're watching our final couple of bowlers here. Today's live coverage of the Lubbock Sports Open, trying to talk through the strategy here as we wait for the whole house to get done. And there's always that exciting potential for a tie. Every tournament director's nightmare. But for the bowlers to get out there and at least have a shot at making the number, always a cool experience. But for us, a little bit of a challenge, of course, waiting to know. And as the folks get done at different times across the house, we don't want to have the bowling fans at home waiting for possibly nothing to happen. So we'll wrap things up here, and then we'll have a recap of today's events and, of course, the final scores for you on PWBA.com and across all the social media avenues once we're done here. So Josie Ernest, 238 here in the finale, is about a lock for the top 16, so we'll see her tomorrow. We just saw Lindsay Boomerstein bowl her way into the top 16 as well. She was 19th before shooting 269 in her final game to jump into the number. All unofficial, of course. All right, so Hugh Fenn-New going to finish things up. Was in the number, top 16 all day long. We don't know exactly where she is right now. But every strike matters, trying to at least hold on to a prize check here, coming all the way from Singapore. And in the event of a tie for the final spot in match play, there will be a roll-off off air per Jason Thomas, Director of Operations here at the PWBA. After this block, we'll catch up with our tournament leader, who I believe is Jazreel Tan from Singapore. Singapore very well represented in the top 16. If they all hold on, it could be 5 of the top 16. Also in there internationally, Claire Guerrero from Colombia, Diana Zavialova from Latvia. So possibly half the players in match play tomorrow. International. Here's our final shot here. And 5 count. That could be big. Very dramatic finish there. And that is going to wrap up today's live stream coverage here on Extra Frame. 12 games of qualifying in the books here at the 2015 PWBA Lubbock Sports Open. We'll have the recap for you within the next hour or two. Pro-Am getting ready to start here at 8 o'clock. Match play will begin tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. 9:30 Eastern. And all the details can be found at pwba.com. Again, tomorrow to find the live stream at pwba.com/live. Or you can find us on social media. PWBA has its own Facebook page and on Twitter at PWBA Tour. That is going to do it for today's coverage. We appreciate everybody joining us wire to wire today through 12 games of qualifying. Back at it tomorrow. 16 games of match play, 2 8-game blocks, round robin, bonus pins up for grabs, and then the exciting stepladder finals shortly thereafter. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. But that's the news for now, and we'll see you on the lanes.